Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the Boom Bar on Boom Radio NG. My name is Sola Rogers.
My name is Tukumbo Ojekole.
My name is Dolupo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It is a very interesting week today. Okay, so it is a very interesting week as it has started and a very, what's it called? Would we say surprising? Because really, I won't say surprising note, but every day, everything we kind of always kind of hope to a certain extent that news would pop up. Really interesting news. We'll have something interesting to say. So yes, maybe not that surprising, but anyway, there's news plenty news as former Governor Wike is not stopping his ban.
I beg to disagree with this description. Is the Honorable Minister for the Federal Capital Territory. I don't know what you mean by former Governor Wike.
Is he not former Governor Wike?
Is he acting as former Governor Wike or is he acting as a minister?
As FCT 001.
Thank you very much. That's much better.
Anyway, also the NDLEA is in the news. There are a few stories. There's news coming from a lot of courts at the moment. The Lagos State is also the Lagos State Tribunal. Governorship Tribunal is another one that is, the judgment is ongoing. So we will see where that is going to go. But there's been a few declarations from the court already. We will get to that. Also, looks like Labour Party. The long-awaited judgment, Abi. Except we have 2 Supreme Court, Sha. It's only one, Abi. Okay, all right. Just only one. Remember, we had 2 appeal court judgments. That's what I'm saying. So as long as you have 1 Supreme Court, Sha. Okay, the rest is history. Anyway, so there's a Supreme Court judgment coming out from that. Also, we know the Supreme Court sadly caught fire today. So that and a few other things are stuff that we're going to be talking about today. Now, let's go straight into it. The news that dropped today about Minister Wike, Abi, that's okay.
Come on.
We'll manage that.
But he's Minister Wike, is it?
I'll manage that. Carry on.
I don't like what you are doing. Is it not Minister Wike?
Well, I don't envy him, but go ahead.
Why don't you envy him though?
He has a tough job.
Okay. Since Dolupo is not going to talk to, please carry on.
No, he was talking about something.
Tokumbo, please carry on.
No, he actually wanted to explain something.
Tokumbo, please carry on. Explain what you want to explain.
You sound very mischievous. Like you are.
No.
Are you there?
Tokumbo wants to say something. Carry on. Thank you. Tell them.
I only said I do not envy the man and his new job. Okay.
Well, he's been a governor for 8 years. Yeah. Being a minister shouldn't be.
No, it's made easy because when you have the law backing you to bring down houses.
The laws backing him to I'm guessing so.
Yes, right. It's a tough one, but he's doing well. I have not said anything against what he's doing.
Why are you afraid? You think I'm going to? Am I now Wike's lawyer? Why are you people afraid?
No, but come to think about it. You buy a piece of land for that long, 5 years, and you don't develop it, yeah? If there is a law that tells you, as soon as you purchase this land, do something, move fast on it, and you slow down on it, then the law comes whipping you.
No.
And then there's another thing I've always said about the FCT, a federal capital territory or a federal capital on itself should have the glorified status of what a capital should be. Somebody says when you look at where it's coming from, it's situated in the north. And I said, excuse me, so why can't we just do things and make things work or in the order we expect it to be? So for me, yeah, it's a tough job. But hey, come with these reports, I think it's doing it the way it should be, I think.
Okay, so now, according to the FCT, they are quoting the Land Use Act of 2004. They're saying Section 28 of the Land Use Act. Now, this particular one is not really talking about the FCT. Why? Because this was, according to them, this is what they had quoted. And now they're saying that the power, what the Section 28 says is power of a governor to revoke rights of occupancy. It shall be lawful for the governor to revoke a right of occupancy for overriding public interest. Overriding public interest in case of statutory right of occupancy means the alienation by the occupier by assignment, mortgage, transfer of possession, sublease, or otherwise. The requirement of the government of the land by the government of state or by local government in the state is either case of public purposes and all that. Now, what I'm saying is that this Land Use Act is talking about states. There is no specific law. We know for a fact that Abuja is not a state. Are we now saying that the same law that applies to Abuja, according to the courts, that applies to Abuja as it being a 37 state when it comes to elections?
Now,
Is that
when it
what
comes to elections, good.
Is it the same law that applies to Abuja? Now, that's the reason why the FCT Minister can revoke land.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to claim to be one, but I'm going to interpret this to the best of my ability. Or should I say ability, like someone would say in recent times. So, one, the FCT Minister also has the powers that are vested in him by the President. Seeing that the President is the one in charge of the Federal Capital Territory, he's like the governor of the Federal Capital Territory. So the powers that the President has are vested in the FCT Minister. He is representing the President. He's like his eyes, his ears, his everything. So that's one established. The other thing that we need to establish is that because Abuja is not designated as a state, does not mean that Abuja will not have laws that will guide it. So if we're going with semantics, we're just going basically with grammar, that this law vests.
Yeah, because I feel like
I'm trying to
it's possible
explain.
that
I'm just trying to explain my own understanding of it. If we're going with semantics and say it says governors and states, are we basically saying that Abuja is going to be lawless?
Okay, so
That's my question
What
to you.
I get it. What I'm just saying to is because I feel that it's probably something that somebody can take the FCT to court for and say that do they really have these powers if they're not a state? I'm just saying.
I know. It's
Well,
a ban.
yeah.
There's no need to
I think
saying.
there was something Shola said that I found a little bit. Yeah, and when you were reading that intro,
The law.
Dolupo, you actually said specifically for electoral matters. I think.
Yeah, that
You emphasized that. Was that part of the?
No, she was
No,
inferring.
I was
She was
inferring
inferring.
that since
Okay.
so according to that law, I can't remember what exactly it is. They're saying that in some situations, Abuja can be I think it's a discretionary matter when it comes to when Abuja should be considered a state or not.
Okay, but when it comes to building issues of environment and stuff, I think honestly that it's a done deal when a minister comes around and says, hey, I'm the sheriff in town, the new sheriff in town, this is what it says, but still doing it within the ambit of the law is critical.
So what
Exactly.
It is critical.
So what I wanted to bring up again is that I think we're just maybe beating a dead horse. Remember that the former governor of Kaduna State had the same position a couple of years ago.
And he came out guns blazing.
He was able to, stick to the Abuja master plan. A lot of demolitions were carried out. A lot of land revocations happened. Basically, everything that Nyesom Wike is doing now has happened before in the past.
So what happened?
It is empowered. He was empowered by law.
So what
You
happened to the other ministers of FCT?
I don't know. Ogumbo is their friend. Maybe you can answer that one.
Because I'm just wondering, like,
I don't like the things you do sometimes. you
Me?
know. No, not you.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Sue me.
Shola has a way of passing the ball. Now, Shola, no, it's not about passing the ball.
Sue
I
me.
think it's so evident. We can see glaringly that somebody is new and this person is working.
yeah.
I think, that's what I'm
I think
saying.
that. I also feel that,
fire burst out there at the moment.
You know, the former governor, so Wike is it can be a very larger than life personality. So, you know, if he's not doing something, he'll be easily spotted out. So it's almost like the man knows that, I've already built this thing around myself, so I cannot let people come and insult me. Let me just do my work. I personally think it's also part of it, which is not a bad thing. Really.
It's not bad.
Which is not a bad thing. Now, according to the office of the minister, diplomatic missions are the ones, the Embassy of Ireland, the Embassy of France, the Canadian High Commission, the Embassy of Democratic Republic of Congo, the Embassy of Turkey, Embassy of Angola.
All the embassies.
No. Embassy of Republic of Korea, Embassy of Philippines, Tanzania High Commission, the embassies of Syrian Republic, Iran, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, Italy, Thailand, Algeria, Trinidad, and Tobago. No, they're just 21 actually. Argentina, Togo, Indonesia, and several government agencies.
Okay.
And even some by the FCT administration themselves.
Okay.
They all have lands there. Now, last week was revocation of land. And how he had revoked land to even people that said they don't have land. Story for another day.
No, don't go there. Don't go there. But,
No,
when
remember there was a conversation. How someone said they only have land.
So there is
they only have house in
there is a
Lagos
law.
and-
There's a law backing this up, right?
Oh,
There
yeah.
is a
So,
law.
so the Land Use Act, LUA, Cap 202, Laws of Federation of Nigeria, 1990, governs all land in Nigeria, including the FCT Abuja. The law vests the entire land comprised in the territory of every state, except land vested in the federal government or agencies.
That's including the
Every
federal-
state.
It's stated.
Yes.
It is stated.
Yes, I am reading
Fantastic.
Verbatim.
verbatim here, it's line by line, solely in the governor of the state. So a quick example is the land that belongs to federal. For instance, the National Stadium Surulere, the Federal Secretariat Ikoyi, those are federal lands. Anything outside all those type of lands is vested in the state governor. But let me read further. Who holds the land in trust for the use and common benefit of all Nigerians? An individual is granted a certificate of occupancy upon successful applying
Okay.
and fulfilling all requirements.
Which includes buying, which includes money paying for.
Yeah, applying and fulfilling all requirements.
Yeah.
All requirements, which, like you
Yeah.
rightly point, you're correct. A grant of such a certificate is for a period of 99 years.
Okay.
However, for the FCT, the lands are vested in the minister. Section 55 of the LUA empowers the minister in matters of administration of land in the FCT. The FCT Act vests all 800,000 square kilometers of the FCT landmass in the federal government. Invariably, the powers to administer land in the FCT are powers of the president, which are delegated to the FCT minister. Now, I'd said this without reading this because of the little knowledge that I have about how the FCT is supposed to work. So, anybody that wants a little bit more, I am reading from This Day newspaper. There's a thing, a nice piece written by someone a month ago, the new FCT minister, legality or otherwise of title revocation. It was written about a month ago. I want to scroll to the bottom so I can give credit to the person who wrote this. Ochima George Esquire is a senior advocate and a partner with Mabu Partners LP. So it's a matter of law.
Okay.
I just wanted to put it up, but I said, okay, just dig a little bit further.
Yeah.
So really and truly, if El Rufai could have done it without anybody saying they were going to court, because everything they did was backed by law. And if Wike is doing it, I know Wike is a lawyer.
He's not wicked either.
No, he's a good guy. I like him. He's a very principled guy. At least he never wicked me. So I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. But on a real to real,
yes,
one of the things that we must point out is that we must use the law to work for the people.
Work for the people, yeah, I agree.
The truth. A lot of our administrators don't care. But even at the barest minimum, are you going to open your eyes and continue to allow everything to go the way it is? Then one day you come out and be comparing Nigeria, Senate claims. But meanwhile, you are even doing worse, and you will not survive the Senate claims.
Yeah.
This weekend, a European country launched its first BRT corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. A country in Europe, its first BRT. BRT that in Lagos now is been like 1 million years old. But we never recognize those things. We don't. We always look down on ourselves. Yeah. So this is me promoting Nigeria the best I can and saying that the foreign embassies go and check the date that those lands were acquired.
Yeah.
And how come they have kept it for so long without anybody prompting them to say, hey, if you don't do this within this period, You know why? You see, because we really don't respect ourselves and we don't respect our own laws. While she was reading out the list of foreign countries, I'm saying these are 21 countries that Wike is not going to anymore. Yeah. No, because that's the guy that wants to take our land. He's going to travel to only his motherland.
He hasn't taken it yet. He's just telling them.
He wants to take our land.
But he's in charge. He's going to do it.
He has not taken it yet.
But he's going to do it.
No, he's saying. No, what he's saying is that he's giving them 3 months.
So it's a threat, right?
Now.
A promise.
Now, again, there's something that people don't do and they need to do. And I'm glad that we do that at the bar. We follow up stories. So, a few weeks ago, when some pronouncements were made by Abuja 001, that's
FCT, not Abuja.
It's Abuja 001, FCT 001. Abuja is FCT.
It confuses our viewers.
FCT 001.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, excuse me, please. Now let us digress and let's waste time to key into what Dolupo is saying. What's the difference between Abuja and FCT?
I don't know.
If you don't know, then why are you raising it?
His plate number is FCT 001.
Dolupo, what is the difference between FCT and Abuja?
Abuja is an area. Abuja.
What is FCT?
Is the Federal
FCT
Capital
what?
Territory.
Somebody help
Federal Capital Territory what?
I don't know.
She will not answer because she knows that the answer negates.
Is this a quiz show?
Oh, that's what she does.
Oh.
You know. So, but back to the matter on ground. Abuja 001, Yensom Wike made some pronouncements. A month after, they have been able to garner over ₦1 billion in IGL because of those pronouncements alone. People are not even paying their tenement rates and all of those things. So I think this man is up to good. He's up to something massive here.
I said it before. I
think so.
I give him claps because somehow along the line, you know something about government officials, okay? We're supposed to know the law. I'm talking about officials of government.
Yeah.
And somehow we help people to circumvent these laws.
Yeah, because we know the law. It's the people who know the law that can circumvent it.
We now have this man who knows the laws and wants to apply it. That's the difference of what we had before and what we're having now. What we're having now is somebody who is ready to share. And you remember the president's marching orders to him. Even if I come to you and ask for land, don't give me.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Because really and truly, we can't. If I'm sorry if this will rub off people a wrong way, but the truth is that until we realize that there are too many people. Take for example, Was it on Friday that we saw the governor of Lagos State? I think it was around Aurelio Igomu area where he was talking about how that place needs to be cleared and it's causing a lot of traffic and all that. And then you wonder how, if it's not that, it's lack of common sense. Seriously, there's some things that you see and you're like, okay, take for example this Brega area. Once you're approaching Brega, you're coming from the Lagos Ibadan Expressway inwards Lagos.
Yes.
And then somehow there's some traffic, and then you're wondering, like, I can count 10-15 places throughout Lagos that this happens. And you wonder why there's traffic here. And then you get there, you see that there are buses parked 3-4 lanes thick. There are about 3 lanes, they're packed, and then people moving are now left with just one lane. At times, none. Because some people, and then if we move on from that, you go to the Alausa end of it, and we go on and on, you get to your Jota, it happens in Ojota as well, happens everywhere. And then you wonder, is it lack of common sense? Or
No,
because
it's not.
if they don't, and then you see how
It's not.
if there are 1 or 2 places where there's some form of task force and there's some enforcement, everybody seems to shape up.
Not all the time. I was waiting for you to get to that point. As a matter of fact, most of these law guys also pretend as if they don't know what is happening.
Oh, yeah.
They just
A lot
look
of
the
them
other
do.
way. Now, do you know the other thing you've just said to me now is to talk about obstructions on the roads. I just need to talk about that. Have you gotten to a place before and you have this queue, very long queue, and when you get to the end of it, supposed end, all you see is a market speeding from the side curb onto the main road. People are selling wares.
Oh yeah.
They just decide.
Oh, happens everywhere.
Yeah, and then they slow down the traffic because it's likely that people on the queue would want to buy 1 or 2 things. And when you go past it, you're free.
On Friday, are you done talking about it? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
You said okay, so that's why I started.
Go ahead. Yes, please. Go ahead. Yeah.
On Friday, June 19th, 2020, that's about 3 years ago, the Nigerian High Commission was demolished in Ghana. Have you guys forgotten that story? A property belonging to Nigeria was demolished in Ghana. Now, the president of Ghana then came out and said, that they were sorry. He actually apologized, and that they were going to investigate, and that they were going to deal with the people. About 2 individuals were arrested, because they actually went with guns and everything and took over the building and actually brought it down. Go online and just Google Ghana demolishes Nigerian embassy. You will see what's going to pop up. Till today, nothing has happened. Nothing.
We didn't ask the questions.
Oh, we did. Their president made promises and nothing has happened. Ghana.
They do apologize a lot in Ghana. They apologize a lot.
But I'm just trying to point out that as against someone going in to demolish or use force on your guests that have a right to be in your country based on your bilateral agreements and arrangements and the brotherhood and sisterhood and everything that it establishes.
Any hood.
Whatever hood.
Yeah.
The minister of the FCT is saying, I am giving you notice and I am advising you. And I know what Nyesom Wike is doing. He's trying to make them start something because that also is important. There's something that we don't understand when we're talking about holding the land in trust for the people. One of the things that people are doing is that they are speculating on land. They go to government. I'm not saying these embassies are doing it, but a lot of the people whose lands are about to be revoked in Abuja, that's what they're doing. So they get the land, based on whatever arrangement that they have, at whatever value. Now, one thing that we always appreciate in this world is land.
Yes.
So are we saying really that it is a crime to keep land to yourself? Can't I just want to buy land and just...
You lock it down.
Yeah.
You lock it down till you're ready.
Most lands are sold with the promise of development. Most lands are sold. You must have heard about even in Ogun State here, where, across the border here now, where a lot of people go to buy land because Lagos is virtually saturated. You will find that even in Lagos, it's happening. It's happening in Lagos. I know it happened in Ibadan too, where they will tell you that, okay, since you have failed to develop this land, we know we sold the land to you. Here's your money. We're taking our land back. Tell me you've never heard that before.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You see, because at times, the owners of the land also feel cheated. Like, you bought this land under the guise that you were going to build and develop it. Now, you bought the land at X amount. Then you've waited 10 years. The area has failed to develop because a lot of people like you have only taken position. You are speculating on land. So you bought the land at 500,000 naira. 10 years after, the land is worth 15 million naira. They sold it to you at 500,000. No problem. Develop it now so that more people can come to the area, so that phase 2 can start.
For further development.
But you will not. So again, land is sold. In some instances, the owners of the land don't care whether you build it in 10 years or 20 or 50 years. But most times in the metropolis,
it has to
even beyond Omonile,
beyond that, it has to
You
be
have to-
developed.
it's sold.
you
You
have
have
to
bought
develop
it with the
it.
promise of developing.
Okay,
it.
so
develop
before we
it.
leave this matter, the minister has been advised not to demolish houses built through self-efforts, but regularize documents of homes in communities where people live. Now, this is by the president of the NLC, Joe Ajaero, who said that the FCT minister needs to stop deriving pleasure from demolishing people's houses. Saying that Nigeria is the only country that cannot provide houses for its citizens but demolish the ones built through self-effort. He's saying that these slums should be legalized and not demolished, and saying that Nigerian workers cannot build houses with paltry sum of 30,000 naira minimum wage. Please, before we get to this matter, I hear a lot of people talk about this minimum wage thing. And am I the only one? Or is it actually true that federal and state, nobody actually gets paid minimum wage?
Everybody's paid higher than the minimum wage.
So why are we always going on about this minimum wage matter? Like as if it's that 30,000, everybody that works in civil service gets paid.
Now, game now.
Anyway, just what
It's
to put
agenda.
out
But
there.
Tokumba wanted to
agenda.
say something about the NLC
Yeah.
chairman's speech.
Yeah, I think Oga has only looked into the matter from a standpoint of human rights, okay, which isn't too bad. But come to think about it, let's ask questions. If you have opportunities to build a house and you have the money to build a house, first off, think about what the law says about where you are building this house. Why do you think sometimes you build your house and few years down the line they tell you it is not in the master plan? The area where you built this house, okay,
Was never in the
was
master
never
plan.
in the. Yeah, there's supposed to be a stadium here or a market here or a highway passing through here. So it is normal for people to for a new sheriff to come around and tell you that, hey, come.
It's
It
not
had
working.
happened in Lagos before, years ago, and it's still happening. Some flyovers or highway overs, okay, in Lagos they had to ensure that some houses were demolished because they had been planted or built in the wrong places. And that was why in Lagos, in particular, they tell you, before you buy a piece of land or own a piece of land,
You should
go
actually do
to the
findings,
planning
yeah.
authority, and ask them vital questions. I have an interest in somewhere in the land in Ikeja, this area in Ikeja. They opened the books for you and said, Mister, don't buy anything here. It's an Greek settlement or something. But people don't do that. They don't do that. You just get this piece of land and you build on it. Yes, it is coming from the angle of how could they have spent such a large amount of money and you are now demolishing those houses. That's what people will see. That's what the labor would want. That's what they want the people to know. But it's the other way. I think we need to do a little bit more searchlight in that area.
People
For me,
spend money
I think.
to do illegal things. Does that mean that the law should always take second place? The law, everybody in charge of the law should look the other way because they spent their hard earnings to achieve something illegal. That's the truth. That's what the NLC president is saying.
Indirectly, yeah.
That's what you're saying. If the person who has built with the hard-earned money that you're referring to has built within, a legal area and is okay, then let him go and normalize his papers. But if he has built where he shouldn't have, if it's not a mixed development, maybe for instance, now it's supposed to be a commercial area, it's supposed to be an industrial area, and some unscrupulous elements have now sold part of that land. What are they supposed to leave it? A good example, one of the tours that Wike carried out in Abuja, there's a contractor that the federal government concessioned land to. Under the plan that the person will build affordable housing for Nigerian workers and Nigerians. Then the person goes and starts to sell land. See the difference? You're supposed to build affordable housing, and when you build it, people will be able to afford it, and they'll get a mortgage to pay over a period. Then you now twist the plan after our government has given you. In fact, and the sad part, they looked at the whole plan and government was not getting anything in return.
They can't get anything in return.
So
in the first place, the arrangement was even wrong.
Exactly. So that's one of the things that is going to revoke or has revoked. So let us ask ourselves again, do we really want a country that works? Or we just want a country where our own issues are clear and we are fine and dandy with it because it doesn't affect us? These are the real questions.
And we've been told from school days that anytime you find any force against government over an issue, right? Don't join the forces. Study the issue. Sometimes you study the issue and underlining, you find that sometimes, government is thinking rightly and they have reasons to do A, B, C, D. We're not actually speaking for them because, once it affects the people, it affects everybody. But here, the law governs it.
Let's be calming
down. The law
down.
explains it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anyway, let's move on from that quickly and let's go through NDLEA and a few things that they had done in the past 1 week. On Sunday, they seem to be releasing everything they do throughout the states, and it's very interesting. One of the things that they had talked about was the seizure of 1,194 cylinders of laughing gas loaded in 2 Toyota Sienna buses that was intercepted on Friday 22nd along the Okene-Lokoja-Abuja expressway. It was on its way to Abuja. And it's becoming more and more...
Laughing gas, right? Yeah.
Yes. It's becoming more and more of an epidemic. These days you hear how people take basic things and they literally, it almost looks like they just weaponize it. I'm sorry, if maybe for lack of a better word, because these are things that other than things like stuff that are banned. If I will go back to remember the age of when tramadol, which it is still very common these days, tramadol is a medicine. Literally, is a medicine. All of a sudden, people picked it and then decided to,
turn this into glory.
Turn into something else. I've heard all sorts of mixtures of basic stuff, and people turn it into all sorts of things. And I get it that NDLEA, maybe that is their job. Maybe it is the job of the Ministry of Information and all that there needs to be a lot more orientation about these things. I personally feel that a lot of people don't even realize how dangerous some of these things they're ingesting are.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. You're quite right, Dolupo. And if we can do all we do within the NDLEA to discover and recover, large amount of these huge things, we should also do a lot more of campaign sensitizing the public about the dangers involved. Hitherto, I think NDLEA is doing a wonderful job. Absolutely wonderful. In the past few weeks or let's say months, 1 or 2 months, I think they just decided to do all these things not for fun, for real action. They have brought down. I won't say they have succeeded in bringing down because it keeps happening every time. But every time it's happening, they get hold of them, they hook them down. If it's ammunition, they even get to a point where they have gone to discover some very local factories where ammunitions have been put together, and they bring it down. They do everything. Now, this laughing gas thing was on the way to Abuja. The intelligence is super and it's working. I don't know what happened to the intelligence. I'm painting a picture on my head now. They allowed them, to ship off from where they were coming. Yeah. They allowed them to move. They allowed them to head for a destination. And then they followed and hacked them down. It's not that they played the stupid vibes on it. But my question is laughing gas. Now, I don't know how we can put that quickly into context. We tried to check the level of potency of laughing gas earlier. And we came up with very interesting things.
Yeah, things that laughing gas could actually do. Different people react to it differently. But also, what it is for nitrous oxide is basically for anesthesia. That's basically what it is for. But they're also controlled issues. Now, the problem with this is that with taking it as a recreational thing is that there is no control. There are no proper doses to these things.
I think this story is so important. So it's one of our headline stories today at the bar. And Tokumba has covered virtually all the points, and Dolupo has also done the same thing. So I'm also just going to add, there's no need for us to repeat ourselves. There's so many stories to run through or breeze through or try to touch upon. So, but still on this story about nitrous oxide and the NDLEA intercepting a shipment of it within Nigeria from somewhere to Abuja. There's a lot of police checkpoints that you see in Nigeria. You see them all over, especially in Lagos, but you see them everywhere, different parts of Nigeria. I think it's time they told us what they have been intercepting, what they have been catching, and what they have been arresting. Honestly, now we're talking security and we're talking governance. If the NDLEA just in 2 or 3 weeks are telling us, last week it was guns and stuff that they intercepted,
And one of the things they intercepted this week was at Syria, like you said, it's the tip-off. I don't know if you saw videos of the one that there was drugs that was loaded inside, in between a truck. It was like in the body of the truck.
It's embedded in it. So we see all of that. Nigerian police. Na una day road pass. In English, you guys are the ones that actually conduct more checkpoints than any unit
else
of the security system in Nigeria. Where are your own results?
Yeah.
Question I ask you now. Nafi answer.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. But kudos to the NDLEA. Before we get to the next one, news dropped about a bridge that collapsed on the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway. It's really
I don't have the details of this bridge, but most times when this happens, it's at times, not most times, sometimes it's it's against the force of nature, maybe some kind of heavy flooding or something and all of that. But most bridges are built to withstand these things. They are built to outlive the builders. Bridges like houses have, this 60, 70, 80, 90 year lifespan. So could it be a case of a poor construction, or could it be that just the force of nature was beyond what they they could handle, like the Titanic?
Anyway, moving on from that quickly, and then let's go on to another thing about the
Labour Party Supreme Court.
We will get there. Just wanted to
I'm just saying.
Talk about the Nigerian Army, and kudos to them. Okay. The rescue of students that were abducted in Zamfara State. On the very first day, there were about 6 students that were rescued that very first day. Now there are more updates about how the Joint Task Force of the Operation Hadarin Daji have now rescued another set of 7 students with 3 construction workers. So according to them now, a total of 13 students and 3 construction workers have been rescued. There are talks about how about 20 of the students have were abducted. This is already more than half. This is good work. We hope that they can rescue everybody else out and quickly. But good luck to them. The response time, even though we would prefer if these things don't happen at all, but the response time is way better than you imagine how all these older abductions that we heard about in the past.
Let's nail it. Chibok. Let's nail it. Let's nail it. No. Let's nail it. Chibok issue.
If we had this response time,
absolutely,
we probably wouldn't have dragged.
Absolutely,
we probably wouldn't have dragged this long. Anyway, moving on from that, let's go on. Before we actually go to the courts quickly, the federal government has unveiled their low-key independence anniversary. So, according to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, he had said that the president had specifically asked for a very what's the English I want to use now? Watered down, modest celebration this year, starting from tomorrow. There's supposed to be a World Press today was the World Press Conference at the National Press Center. Today, also, there's supposed to be an anniversary symposium and public lecture on Thursday at the State House Conference Center at 10 a.m. There's a lecture on Friday at the National Mosque at 10 a.m. On Friday, and Jumat prayer at 1 p.m. Then there's a presidential broadcast on Sunday, 7 a.m. So there's going to be a presidential broadcast then. Then also on that Sunday, there's going to be an interdenomination church service at 10 a.m. at the National Christian Center. And finally, on Monday, there's going to be military parade at the presidential villa at 9 a.m. So there's no party, there's no banquets, there's no
modest.
There's no parade.
Modest. I believe that most of our lectures for the anniversary should be talking about the way forward for Nigeria.
Oh yeah.
And every time we've had these things in the past, and I wonder what happens to the content of these seminars, conferences.
And what comes of it
after the day. I wonder what comes out of it. We should begin to think about. We can bring all these gurus together to come and talk about which way Nigeria. And at the end of it, we just clap and they go. And nothing happens to that. It's quite worrisome. So I think being modest, fine. I think it's lovely. But we have to do something about the content that comes out from these world-graded speakers who would
I think I totally agree with that. We can't just all be just talking and talking and talking. What's the point of it? Now, moving on from that, let's go on to the courts quickly. As I asked earlier if there was truly a Supreme Court, only one Supreme Court. Anyway, earlier today, the Supreme Court actually got gutted by fire. There were about 3 offices that got burnt. But according to the spokesperson of the court, they're saying that there's nothing of importance that got destroyed. And this incident would not affect any case in the Supreme Court, and most especially the presidential election petition court that is still going on as planned, and is not going to affect any activity of the Apex Court. Yes, I think that it's actually very good to know. Now, moving on from that, and let's move on to the courts in general. The first things first, like I said, we have only one Supreme Court, right? Okay. So why I said sad and why I keep asking is because a few weeks ago, we had 2 different appeal court judgments, and this was about the Labour Party chairmanship brouhaha. And you wonder why. Yes, we can have like high court judgments, different ones, and you wonder why we had 2 appeal courts. Looks like 2 different people went to 2 different places, 2 different appeal courts. in 2 different regions to get 2 different judgments, and everybody has their judgment to hold on to. But now the case now went to Supreme Court, and as of today, now the Supreme Court has now said that I think Lamidi Apapa is the bona fide chairman of the Labour Party.
That's going to have some far-reaching implications for the entire structure of the Labour Party,
yes,
and its members and the movement within it. Lamidi Apapa had always insisted that it was the rightful chairman. The person that he was contending with, what's his name now?
Abure.
Julius Abure had also insisted that it was the rightful, heir to the throne in court. In fact, at the PEPT Tribunal, the judgment, it was Abure that was on seat. At the same tribunal, while they were still, presenting their cases, there was a day that Lamidi Apapa had made an appearance and he was physically assaulted in Abuja. It was. In fact, it led to him, having to go get his own security detail and his own bouncers and security people and all of that. Mm-hmm. And he has been making a couple of statements that, for instance, someone like Peter Obi would not like. Peter Obi had never recognized Lamidi Apapa as the chairman of the party.
Yeah.
And primaries conducted by him were, not recognized.
Yeah, there are 2 different sets of.
By
one of
Peter
the major
Obi.
issues.
Now that's going to have some far-reaching consequences because, like we say now, yesterday they had a rally in Imo State, the Labour Party, and it was the people who Abure had. Picked.
Because there are actually 2 sets of primaries in those places as well.
Last week, Peter Obi was in Bayelsa, to flag off a campaign in Bayelsa for the governorship seat in Bayelsa for the Labour Party. So you start to look at all of this and say, now what this means is not what. There's no need to second guess yourself. The Supreme Court has spoken. At some point, even Lamidi Apapa was talking about withdrawing the case.
Withdrawing the case at the
presidential election tribunal.
Yes, Peter Obi's election.
So if I'm Peter Obi now, I would not be happy because he backed one person. He was loyal to Abure. Now Abure has lost out, and he has lost out forever because it's the Supreme Court. That's why I say it's going to have far-reaching consequences, regardless of the decision of the Supreme Court. If Peter Obi wants to still stay in the Labour Party, he must align with Lamidi Apapa, or he pulls out his entire supportership because he has a large fan base and supporter base.
Yeah, but
and goes into another party.
Nothing can happen with that.
I'm talking about going forward.
Okay.
That if regardless of what happens at the election tribunal, if at the Supreme Court now, the Supreme Court now says, oh, it's Peter Obi that should be declared winner of the elections, he must work with Apapa. Or now say, oh, he can't stay there, he's going to another party. That's what I'm saying. And if he loses out at the Supreme Court, he still has to work with Apapa if he wants to stay in the Labour Party or move his structure to another party.
Well, come to think of it, the elementary school kid will wonder what exactly
what are you people doing?
What's going on?
It's politics. It's politics.
Politics 101 would ask questions, I don't know why we can't just come together and work peacefully.
If that had happened in the first place, he wouldn't have gone to Labour Party.
Yeah.
But it's politics. Everybody has ambitions. Everybody has calculations. They have their permutations that they have made, and they have to, make it work. So it's politics at the end of the day. And politics has played out now. Yeah. Apapa will be somewhere laughing sheepishly and saying, okay, I told you people, So my prediction is that regardless of what happens at Supreme Court, Peter Obi and his people will leave the Labour Party. I'm predicting that today.
But if he leaves the Labour Party now, it means that there is no story. They're forfeiting the case in court. Because also, Lamidi Apapa can actually withdraw the case. on behalf of the Labour Party.
I don't even want to go there. But I'm saying now that regardless of what happens...
And that's what I'm saying. So he's forfeiting it
You-
until 4 years.
You have taken it a step higher than me, and I say that's fine. I can't say anything about that. My prediction, based on
You
the
think
way...
he will take a walk from this party?
Yes, based on the way he never recognized and agreed to work with Lamidi Apapa. And Lamidi Apapa would be like, yeah, you never... In fact, you did this, and that. So right here, right now,
there's no...
I'm the party chairman, and I don't know you.
Okay.
I don't know you.
Another split coming just like we had in the PDP.
I predict that Peter Obi would relocate to another party.
Okay, we'll see. Definitely see how that works out. Also, very interesting story is also the judgment of the Lagos State Tribunal is ongoing at the moment. There's been a lot of proclamations from tribunals from state to state in the past 1 week. And, Lagos State is probably one of the states that everybody's looking forward to. So it's that definitely, I think, is still ongoing. We've seen a lot of drama, and we know how these things can be really. Anyway, at the moment, there is... breaking news on that, as the tribunal has now dismissed the PDP Jandor's application and upheld Governor Sanwo-Olu's election.
Breaking news.
Yes, just dropped. He says, and I quote, "I affirm the election and return of Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu as the duly elected governor of Lagos State. Parties are to bear the cost."
Okay, so you just said... breaking news.
Yes, they're saying that
courts have spoken.
The PDP lacked merit, and accordingly, apparently the court had already earlier stricken out the Labour Party's case out. So how was I not surprised though?
Well, for those of you who are just listening or joining us, what this also means is that both parties, talking about Labour and PDP, still have the right to take it higher.
So now,
yes.
one interesting thing that is happening now is that maybe we continue to see some things. Now, one of the issues, and I think that this happened to the APC actually at the presidential election court. Now, one of the things that the Labour Party and the PDP had taken to court for Lagos State was the membership of the deputy governor. And now
membership.
Yeah, his membership and his if he was validly nominated in the party. And they're saying that the tribunal said that the petitioners are not members of the APC and therefore have no locus to challenge the primaries of a party that produced their candidates. And I think this also was a conversation that happened when the APC was challenging the candidacy of Peter Obi.
Well, it's getting clearer now.
Yeah.
The judiciary is making us understand that even if you have a case, you do not have locus. There's no way you can come and challenge someone because you're not a member of the party. And so that's out of the window. Hopefully, a lot of people will stop bringing these cases to court.
That's what I was going to say.
What creative politicians will do now is to have their people join all these parties. This is me now, Mr. Conspiracy Theory 204. Let them be the party now, and by the time they come, we don't. This person just join our party. We don't take as a because if a Labour Party person comes to court with it, then he has locus because that's what the judges are saying.
That's what
they're not saying that this person is covered. They're just saying because you are not a member of the party,
more like
it's not your business.
Can I just ask this question?
Yes, sir.
Where there are councils?
At times,
don't they see this?
But funny enough, this is not the first time it's happening that courts are actually making different. No. What I mean is that I don't blame the councils on this particular matter because it's not the first time people are taking these cases to court, and the court is actually a part of me also feels that at times the court is officially bringing what's it called now? Where we're seeing where courts are having the same thing. We see the same case being taken to different courts, and we see different judgments. That's where
So there's an alignment now.
Now we're officially now seeing that there's an alignment with cases, because
So because of the lack of alignment, the councils will go to court.
Will go to court, which I don't blame them. If this court is saying that, and that's the case, we would like to have one thing to say.
You know that yesterday a pronouncement was made about, for instance, a Labour Party winner of the House of Assembly, I think in Amuwo-Odofin also, and it's similar, to what was made about the same Labour Party person for the House of Reps. Remember? So, meanwhile, we saw videos of people. I don't know if those guys finally went to court. The initial members of Labour Party, who actually claimed that they had concluded their primaries before some of the people who won the tickets now joined them.
Those ones too have.
Now those are the ones that what the court is saying is that those are the kind of people who have locus.
I agree. I think that's what. So maybe people should check that angle now and see what exactly if the court is going to rule in their favor as well. But at the end of the day, as annoying as it is can be sometimes, you never know what you take to the court that will go through. So why not if not at times?
It's a labyrinth of confusion. Really.
I think so sometimes, but what if? We'll definitely see how that goes. Anyway, quickly, let's go to Taraba State. Also, the Labour Party, I think, anyway, you had said it, so let's just move on from it. There's no point. The Taraba State has approved a 75,000 naira medical and housing allowance for corps members that are posted to schools.
Congratulations to all the corps members who get to go to Taraba. Shout out to the governor of Taraba. And they're accepting non-corps members to, can we come and visit and
spread it around? Let it go around.
Let us also get medical coverage. You understand?
Coverage,
we love you too. We want to serve virtual service. You can do virtual service of NYC.
So what do you want to be
I don't know about
that. What do you want to be doing for them?
I can teach now. Tokumbo can teach. Even you can slap or beat or
should service.
Or teach.
Which service are you talking about?
NYC. We're not too old.
Dolupo, please move on this.
Tokumbo, you are a youth. Tokumbo, see your lumberjack shirt now.
Excuse me.
I ain't say nothing.
Even your name is for youth. Tokumbo. It's you understand.
Yeah. Let's go.
Anyway, moving on quickly from that. Also, Governor Lawal of Zamfara State has banned illegal mining in Zamfara State. We'll see how that
was
goes.
Illegal mining unbanned? Remember, illegal mining. Was it unbanned now that he's now banning it? Like it was unbanned, then he banned. Gasi, leave rhetorics and do action.
Yeah,
let's stop playing to the gallery. People are being killed in your state. Lives are being lost. Resources are being lost. Yeah. You are now banning something that does not need banning. It is illegal mining. Abi, why do you ban illegal mining?
Illegal mining in the first place. Anyway, moving on from that quickly before we leave. We couldn't go through everything, but France has now finally agreed to leave Niger to recall the ambassador and all. And I'm like, so if you are going to leave them anyway, why didn't you just go quickly?
Coming. I was hoping we wouldn't discuss France again.
Why?
I really was. I hope.
Anyway, finally, before we go,
they're protesting Ghana.
Yeah, Ghana is protesting. It is
it's day 3 now.
Day 3. Yes, they're protesting economic hardship. At the moment, their inflation is about 30% high. The truth is that if we're not careful, the way we're going, inflation in Nigeria, probably
the government has filed for bankruptcy.
Yes, they have.
After failing to pay billions of dollars.
Really sad.
Yeah.
It's really.
I want to say this. I have brothers and sisters in Ghana, and I want to say to them, stay true to yourselves. Fight what you have to fight. Don't destroy anything. And put the government on their toes. I also want to say to the government of Ghana, what was the purpose of redenominating, your currency when there was nothing to back it up? Yes. You gave your people false hope for so many years, saying that your CDs and the dollar were at par, and look at where you are now. Build substance. African leaders, Stop chasing shadows.
stop-
Stop
yeah,
playing to the
I
gallery.
agree.
Build substance.
Anyway,
And the police in Ghana have apologized for the protests.
Yeah, because there was this
Apologize.
clamp down
Really?
on day one.
On the-
They actually clamped down on innocent people.
And I felt that was unique.
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. That's really good to know. Anyway, on that note, that is all we will take today on the bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. West African time to give you another wonderful edition of the bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.